What's up guys, this is TopTierYugioh, I'm Antoine Steele, and they finally released the effects for the TCG Exclusives in the Dark Illusion, which is the next set coming out in about 2 weeks. So now we know all of the effects of the new Spiral cards and the Subterror cards. But today I'm just going to talk about the Subterror cards, and I'll make a video about the Spiral ones over the next few days. So let's go ahead and get into the effect of the first Subterror monster. And so before we get started guys, I'm really interested in what you're most excited for out of this next set. Is it Subterrors, Spirals, the Bird of Stones, Rank 10 Trains, Metal Foes, or something out of the core set maybe that I didn't mention? Definitely let me know in the poll that's going to be in the top right corner of the screen, and also in the comment section. Let me know what you're excited to see so I can bring that content to you. So let's go ahead and get into the first monster, Subterror Behemoth Stalagmo. It's an Earth Rock level 10 monster, 2800 attack, 2100 defense with a flip effect. And so all of the Subterror Behemoth monsters have flip effects. There's only 2 so far, but I'm assuming in the future the next Behemoths will also have flip effects. And so the flip effect for this one reads, you can discard one Subterror monster, and if you do, draw 2 cards. You can only activate this effect once per turn. When a face-up monster you control is flipped face down, if you control no other face-up monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. Once per turn, you can change this card to face down defense. So the flip effect is the main one. All of the Behemoths also have the same secondary effect to where if a monster you control is flipped face down, you can special summon it from your hand if you don't control any other face-up monsters. And then the third effect, being able to change it to face-down defense, is actually really reminiscent of Geargia's, but it's also very important in the archetype because it's going to allow you to keep resetting your monsters, allowing you to flip them again, and keep reactivating their effects. Next we have Subterror Behemoth Umastryx. This one's a reptile, level 7, 2000 attack, 2700 defense. So Stalagmo has a lot of attack and lower defense. This has higher defense and lower attack. So it kind of gives you a little more versatility, so when you need something offensive, you can summon Stalagmo, but when you need a defensive monster, Umastryx is the way to go. Them being different types though is kind of bad because now you don't get to just play rock support or play reptile support. Now you can't really play either because they have so many different types, while also making you weaker to Rivalry of the Warlords. But the flip effect for Umastryx is you can target one monster your opponent controls, banish it. You can only activate this effect once per turn. And it has the same secondary and third effect to where if a monster you control is flipped face down, you control no other face up monsters, special summon it from your hand in defense, and then once per turn you can change it to face down defense. So the flip effect is actually really good because banishing your opponent's monsters is so valuable right now in every matchup, especially against like Burning Abyss, Pendulums, Monarchs. It's just so valuable. While targeting isn't the best because it can be dodged and it also doesn't hurt Cosmos at all, it's really good in literally every other matchup. So unlike Stalagmo, this flip effect can be used offensively and defensively. So if you're trying to attack your opponent directly, you can banish their monster, then attack directly with a few of yours. Or on the flip side, if your opponent's trying to attack you, they attack into this, you banish their monster, and now they have less attacking power. And so Umastryx actually gives the deck a lot of versatility in what flip effect you want to activate at what time. However, the problem with having a deck based around flip effects is that you're going to need to be able to not trigger them, but you need to be able to flip your monsters more readily. Because normally when you summon a monster face down, you can't flip it face up on that turn. So you need some way to flip your monsters face up on also your opponent's turn. Because you want to be able to disrupt your opponents with effects like Umastryx, and then also be able to draw on your opponent's turn with Stalagmo. Because although both can only be used once per turn, because they're flip effects, you can use them on your opponent's turn. So you do want to take advantage of that. But let's move on to the next monster. But that's it for the Behemoths. Next we have Subterror Nemesis Warrior. So like the name suggests, it's a warrior level 4, so you can search it with Rhoda, and then it has 1800 attack, 1200 defense. Its effects are, during either player's turn, you can send one Subterror monster from your deck to the graveyard. That's the cost. Then you tribute this card and at least one other monster so that the levels tributed equal or exceed the level of that Subterror monster in the graveyard that you just sent. And if you do, special summon that monster from your graveyard and face up or face down defense. If a Subterror Behemoth monster is flipped face up while this card is in your graveyard, special summon this card. You can use each effect of Subterror Nemesis Warrior once per turn. So in my opinion, Nemesis Warrior is the best of the 3 monsters so far because it really ties them together. So from looking at the first effect, it's actually really important because it's going to allow you to special summon any of your Subterror monsters from your deck. And it doesn't have any restrictions, so you can summon another copy of itself. You can also summon either copy of the Behemoth. And although it has a lot of the extra stuff like sending it to the graveyard, then special summon that monster from the graveyard, essentially you're just summoning it from your deck. But if your opponent has like a Macro Cosmos or something, it doesn't work. That's just really the only way to think about it. Or an easier way to think about it. And so the lack of restrictions also allows you to summon the same monster that you tribute. So for example, if you have a Subterror Nemesis Warrior and a Stalagmo, you can tribute both of them to summon another Stalagmo. Because Warrior is level 4, Stalagmo is level 10, so then when you tribute both, those levels are combined equal to 14. Therefore, you can summon a Stalagmo because it's lower than that. If that makes any sense. But you can summon pretty much any Subterror monster when using this effect. I also like that it's a quick effect because it allows you to dodge targeting. Because like I said before, targeting is, not the best mechanic right now, because pretty much every deck has a way to play around it. And this deck is no different. Nemesis Warrior allows you to play around targeting effects, because say your opponent were to target your Nemesis Warrior with like a Farfa, you can just chain the effect, attributing it in your other monster to summon one of your Subterror Behemoths. So again, that gives the deck a lot more versatility, and it kind of speeds up the deck a little bit and gives it some resiliency. It also allows you to cycle through your Behemoth's effects, so you can activate a Stalagmo effect, then use Nemesis Warrior to get to a Umastryx, and then use the Umastryx effect. So that's really useful as well. So now the second effect also is really useful because it doesn't have any restrictions, and it's a trigger effect, so that can also activate in either player's turn. And so you can kind of loop both of these effects. So pretty much you have Nemesis Warrior and a Behemoth. You tribute both of them to summon another Behemoth, and then when you flip that Behemoth, you special summon back Warrior. And now because you have a Behemoth and Warrior on the field, you're able to use Warrior's effect whenever you want. So just resolving the effect once will allow you to keep summoning it back and resolving the effect multiple times in the future. The only restriction is that it's once per turn. However, the one drawback with this effect is that you need at least one other monster on the field to use the effect. This because it's a level 4 Warrior monster, this is probably going to be your normal summon. So you need some way to special summon other monsters so that you can tribute them for its effect. So that's going to be a second problem in this deck, along with flipping your monsters. So now let's look at the last card they gave us. This is a field spell card called the Hidden City. When this card is activated, you can add one Subterror monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, you can change one face down defense Subterror monster you control to face up attack or defense position. Once per turn, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can change one face down defense Subterror monster you control to face up attack or defense position. Then you can negate that attack. You can only activate one Hidden City per turn. So just that first effect alone makes it worth playing because it's a searcher, it's just a generic searcher for this archetype, which really aids the consistency. The second effect fixes that first problem I mentioned about being able to flip our monsters whenever we want. Now while this is a once per turn ignition effect, we can only use it in our main phase, it still allows us to get around having to wait a turn to flip monsters face up. And then combined with the fact that all of our Subterror monsters can also flip themselves face down, this again helps us cycle through their effects. And then the third effect protects your monsters from attacks, while again also triggering their flip effects. So now if you combine Hidden City with Nemesis Warrior, your monsters are protected from attacks and from targeting. And that gives this deck a lot of resiliency, I think, and it's gonna really aid to how they play in the future. It kind of reminds me of Cosmos, but just, revolving around flip monsters. And then field spells right now are also just kind of hot because of terraforming. So any field spell you have, you can essentially play up to 6 copies of it with terraforming. So this card is going to make the deck a lot more consistent depending on how you choose to run it. And now there's one more card I want to show you guys. It isn't from the next set. It's actually from Shining Victories, I think. And it's called Spirit of the Windfall. And it's a level 4 fairy, 1800 attack, 900 defense. And the effect is when it's normal summon, you can add one flip monster from your deck to your hand. Meaning you can add the Behemoths to your hand. So you can search your Stalagmo and your Umastryx. And then if you can find some way to flip your monsters face down, you can special summon them. So now to address the problems, I wrote down some cards that I thought were kind of interesting. And so the way you can activate your flip effects, the Hidden City is one. I thought another way you could do this was with the Prediction Princess engine. So if you use Prediction Princess, Tarot Try, and all of those other cards, Tarot Try is really good at flipping your monsters face up and face down, as well as special summoning them from the graveyard, which really helps you keep using their effects over and over again. The only problem is that Tarot Tray is level 9, and so that's going to take 2 tributes to summon, which kind of sucks. But the fact that it special summons back a flip monster, and then you have Nemesis Warrior, which can also special summon itself back whenever you need it to, it kind of pays for itself, but I just wish it was a lower level. It also makes going into the extra deck kind of awkward, because it's level 9, Stalagmo's level 10, Umastryx is level 7, and then Nemesis Warrior is level 4, so your levels are really all over the place. Next, I had Ghost Trick Go Round and Ghost Trick Scare. So Ghost Trick Go Round is a continuous trap card that you can activate during the battle phase, so it's kind of like Hidden City, whereas Ghost Trick Scare is a normal trap card that you can activate at any time, so it's probably a little bit better. However, it not being continuous kind of takes away from its viability because it's only going to be a one-time thing, and you just don't want like a one-card trap that says flip your monsters flip face up. That's just kind of bad. Like, although it works with the archetype, it's just not an amazing card in and of itself. As for getting your monsters face down for summoning them, I didn't write this up here, but I think Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse are going to be really cool for that. And then there are also monsters like the Girgias, Tsukuyomi, Big Shield Gartna, and Mid Shield Gartna. And there are also warriors that you can search with Rhoda. So that's pretty interesting. So that's going to allow you to special summon your Behemoths. And then like I said, the Hidden City, Prediction Princesses, and the Ghost Trick cards are going to allow you to flip them back face up. So again, the other problem was being able to special summon monsters so you can tribute with Nemesis Warrior. The best solution to that problem, I thought, was actually the Speedroid engine. The Speedroid engine is going to give you access to rank 3s, so you can go into Invoker, which can summon your Nemesis Warrior, and you can also go into Dante, which can mill your Nemesis Warrior, and you can also mill some of the other cards you might want in the graveyard. Rank 3s are just pretty good right now. They're just generally good, as anyone and everyone knows with Burning Abyss seeing as much popularity as it is. Next I have Blackwing Gofu. It's also coming out in the next set, and it's just a level 5 tuner monster that special summons itself from the hand, sort of like Cyber Dragon. Then we have the actual Cyber Dragon. And then the other solution I thought was like, you could maybe play Subterrors with Pendulums maybe? I haven't tested this out myself, but in theory it could work. Like if you could just like spare maybe 10 to 15 slots for your Subterror engine, it might be okay. Because you can Pendulum summon Umastryx and Nemesis. The only thing you can't Pendulum summon is going to be Stalagmo. But with that, you can always special summon it from your deck with your Nemesis Warrior. So I'm not sure how this would work. So if anyone wants to try it out, let me know. I'll probably be trying it sometime this week. As soon as these cards are up in YGO Pro, I'm going to try to get a deck profile and some duels going. I have a pretty decent deck idea and some combos in mind that I'd love to show you guys. And so I'm going to work on that over the next couple days to a week, depending on when they're on YGO Pro. So once again guys, let me know what you're interested in seeing out of this next set, and I'm going to try my best to bring you content that focuses on or revolves around what you guys want to see. So this feedback really helps a lot guys. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.